Welcome back to our live coverage of Summit League Media Day. We're here at the downtown Holiday Inn in Sioux Falls. Kelly, Stewart, Brad Newitt, and head coach of the Omaha men's basketball team, Derrin Hansen, entering his 14th season at the helm for the Mavs. First of all, Coach, how's it going?
It's going fine. I appreciate you guys having us up here these last couple of days. It's been great.
Awesome. Well, Coach, last year kind of a rebuilding season in a sense, but, you know, new year, fairly new team, but you do have some experienced vets. What's the offseason been like, and what's the preseason been like so far?
You know, the offseason happened quick for us. You know, we'd had a couple really good years in the league, and then we struggled a bit last year. You know, a few different things kind of didn't go our direction, and we didn't handle some things well either. So, you know, we addressed some stuff right away. You know, we practiced before spring break last year for the first time, and kind of got our team together and got them going, and I thought that helped us. I thought that led us into the summer. We had a tremendous summer, strength conditioning and all the things that go with that, and skill development. And I thought that also has led us into this fall because Zach Jackson and Mitch Moore are both seniors, and Zach, of course, is getting preseason accolades this year, and Mitch going into last year was getting some preseason things before he had 2 shoulder separations, which really kind of hampered him, and he only played in 12 or 13 games. So to have those 2 guys lead us has been crucial for our program, and we're excited to have everyone else kind of fall into place behind them.
Awesome.
Talk a little bit more about Mitch Moore. Obviously, tough injuries that he has to deal with, and you mentioned the shoulder, and for a kid that is a big-time shooter for you, I mean, that's a key injury, but I thought he battled through it last year, kind of, to me, looked like he had to play hurt some. Speaks a lot to me to his toughness, but what can you hope for him, you know, going into his senior year?
Well, you know, we hope he gets back to where he was. He obviously had a great year, and you know, like I said, preseason accolades going into last year, and really went down in the 3rd game and tried to, you know, come back a month later, played about 4 or 5, and had another one. But you said it, his toughness was great, and the things he did on the floor for us, I thought he did really well. But the thing we're looking a little bit more out of Mitch this year is just his leadership on and off the floor, just not his play. And he's delivered that. You know, we're really happy with where he's at. Guys are looking to him. Him and Zach are our 2 seniors. So, you know, we're excited where he has put our team, and we hope that we can continue that.
Well, let's talk a little bit more about Zach. Obviously looking for the leadership there. He's clearly a playmaker, first team preseason Summit League accolades. But where have you seen him make a big jump, maybe going from last year to this year, either with the leadership or on the court? Well,
for sure with the leadership. You know, that's a big thing for him, and being one of our 2 seniors. You know, we want that out of him. But you know, his overall dedication to the game, and I'm going to take it back one more year. He averaged 3.5 as a freshman, 10.5 as a sophomore, and then 16.5 last year as a junior. So he's really taken the proper steps. He's coachable. He's tough. He's competitive. We love that he's on our team. He can score in a variety of ways. But the biggest thing, like we've talked about a little bit with Mitch, is just hearing his voice on the floor more has given us a little bit more direction as a team, and he's brought us together. And I think that'll help us in games this fall, or I'm sorry, this winter.
Coach, you returned 4 of your top 5 scorers, and I think sometimes that gets glossed over, but in this day and age of college basketball, and you think, you know, transfers and all the movement that goes on, I mean, I'm not sure, have you had a situation like this, at least in the Division I era at Omaha, where you've had at least this much of your scoring back, and if so, how does that kind of play into your plans for the year?
Well, you know, maybe close, but probably not 4, you know, and that's a good thing for us. You know, we have 3 guys that were double-digit scores back, and KJ Robinson was like 9 or 9.5, so he's right there. So, you know, to have that back is something that we can build upon. I think that's been good for us in the offseason. You can just see the development in our guys, you know, whether it's they know what's going to happen next, because last year they were all a year younger. You know, 1 year less mature, 1 year less strong, 1 year less everything. And, you know, they can see some things coming this year, and they handle things on and off the floor better, and they're making better decisions on the floor, and you can see the development. So to have that many experienced guys back is probably rare in this day and age, but we're excited that it's going to be us this year.
Yeah, great to have some experience back, but let's talk about the new guys a little bit, and they're actually not so new. I mean, you have 3 transfers, 1 true freshman, but 2 of those transfers are from Division I. So what are they bringing to the team? What have you seen out of them so far in Strom and Barney?
Sure. Well, number one, Logan Strom brings a year of experience at Division I at UC Davis. Now he does have to sit this year, but he brings us. He's a multifaceted player. He can play on the block. He can play outside. He shoots it and passes it well, and has a really good basketball IQ. So I think Logan Strom has a really good future in Maverick basketball. He just has a year to wait on it. But Brett Barney at Wichita State, come from a great program like there. Didn't play a lot, but eligible right away. He brings some toughness to us. He's a 5-man who is opposite Matt Pyle. Matt Pyle's on the block. Well, Barney can play there, but Brett can also stretch you to the 3-point line. And that's what we like, is we have guys who can drive it and kick, and he can create some more space, and it's going to give cutters more room and drivers more room, and it's going to give us one more option on the perimeter. So, those two guys have been very good additions to our program.
Well, your teams are always a lot of fun to watch, especially when you have the basketball in your hand, because you guys like to play high octane, up and down the floor. What are the biggest improvements you would hope that this group can make for this season going forward from kind of maybe where you ended last year at?
Sure. Well, two things for sure. I mean, number one, defensively, we have to be better. Sure. And I know some high major games last year probably skewed the numbers a little bit, but that being said, we weren't good enough. And our guys knew that, and those are things that we stressed right away in the spring. We didn't rebound the ball well enough. Especially as a group. Sometimes everyone just looks at the 4s and the 5s, but we have to have those other guys chasing down those loose balls, right? Those are the ones that kind of matter in the end. So we have to do a lot of that, and then offensively, I just hope that so far, our team, we've been willing passers. We're going to make the extra one. We're going to set up a team for a better shot than the one we have. And if we do that, I think we can be hard to guard, because I think we can have 4, 5, or 6 guys who on any night can get 14, 15, 16, and not just focus on 1 or maybe 2 guys. So those are some things that we've been stressing. We've been pretty good in practice. Some days better than others, as always this time of year. But those are some of the things we're trying to improve upon.
Well, you talked about those high major schools skewing the numbers a little bit. Not taking a break from them this year, actually. Let's take a look at the schedule. And you guys are definitely going to be road warriors. 9 of your 14 non-conference games on the road, and 13 non-conference games, and a variety of Power 5 schools on there. How do you feel about this schedule?
Well, I feel good about it. Number one, last year it was kind of bunched together, so it's spread out a little bit more this year. We do have 3 of our first 6 at home, which I think is beneficial. Then I know we have a 5-game road swing in there. But, like I've always said, when you're a team at our level, at the end of the day, if you can be as good as you can be, and for us, as healthy as you can be going into that January 1 conference race, that's really important. So our schedule will set us up and benefit us going into probably any place we'll see this year. So if we can overcome, fight our way through some of those, win the games we're supposed to win, get some momentum, and be healthy January 1st, then I like where our team is at going into conference play.
Awesome.
How does it all come together, kind of building a schedule like this? Do you look at style of play of your opponents potentially when you try to, not maybe so much the high major, but the more the peer level games, and try to who you go play? Well,
some you do. We have some challenges this year. I think the WAC challenge is big. We're going to go to Seattle and play in that, and I think that's great for our league, and playing up there. And then, fortunate enough, we paired a high major game with it, which is always good for exposure and money for our department and those things. So to be able to pick off 2 of those in one trip, it kind of killed 2 birds with one stone, so to speak. So, we're happy about that. If we can go in and fight like crazy against Seattle, and then swing away what's going to be a very good Oregon team this year.
Oh man, it's exciting to, go to those schools, and you have a fairly veteran team. So these players feel confident going into those gyms and taking on those schools. But let's go back to the offseason, because a lot of coaches have been talking about how they have more time with their players in this offseason because of the new NCAA rule. With that, where do you think is the biggest jump that you guys have made in these past few months?
The one thing is being around our guys as much as we can be around them. I think it's important, but there's also a fine line of too much, because you're around them a lot during the year. But to be able to go 4 hours instead of just 2, to be able to use your whole team all the time, if you so want to. What it did is it put the decisions in the coaches' hands, how they want to handle their teams, versus the NCAA making just a blanket statement. Because every team is different. You would have a younger team, might want to spend a little more time on maybe just skill development, or maybe just team or style of play. So I think that's important. You would have some veteran guys, we can maybe back off them a little bit, but it put the decision making of how much time you wanted to spend, how you wanted to spend that time, in our hands, and I thought that was vital.
All right, well, Coach Hansen, you've done great with our questions, but now we get to take it to social media with the hashtag #AskYourCoach. Hear from some of the fans, and Elena Lanson has the questions for you there. Elena?
Yep, some fans questions right here for you. So first one, crafting your defensive philosophy. How are you going to make it fit to this roster's strengths this year?
A couple of things that we've tried to do is I think the strength of our team this year defensively will be our team. For 3 years in a row, we had the steals leader in our league. We had Devin Patterson, and then for 2 years we had Tradeon Hollins, and it was, we could really get up and we could gamble a lot, and it was a high risk, high reward. But a lot of times for us, it was reward. We're going to do a lot more team type oriented defensively things this year than what we've done in the past, and even last year. So that's been a big point of emphasis, and that started in the spring, and it's carried over. We've had one secret scrimmage and had some good parts of that and some bad parts of that, but those are things that we're working on.
And besides the Premier Center and Baxter Arena, what's your favorite place that you've visited?
I would say, you know what, we've been in a lot of great places. We've played in a lot of big ones, but we go back to my favorite place this year. I like playing at the Barn in Minnesota. There's something about the risen floor and the history of the place, and the locker rooms are downstairs, and there's something about the Barn that I really enjoy. So hope we have some success there. We almost got one there a couple years ago, but they were nice enough to invite us back, and we're happy to go back. And for me, it's just one of my favorite places.
Hey, the Barn is great,
Yeah.
and I got the chance to play in it, but the visitor locker room should be called the hallway.
Well, yeah, it's almost small when you get down there for sure.
Oh my gosh, wow. Well, we talked about some of the studs coming back and everything. Who's a player that maybe is not so much on the radar, but could surprise fans this year? Well,
it's one or two guys. One guy has been injured for a while, but I think he'll be back in a week. Is Juan Yang Tut. He's 6'7" or 6'8". He came in 200 pounds. He's now about 220. He can score in a multitude of ways. He can play out. He can play in. He has a knack for scoring the basketball, and he gives us versatility. Play a little bit bigger, a little bit longer. We can play smaller and slide him up and play the 4 or the 5. So he gives us versatility. He can score the ball naturally, and he's a 20-year-old freshman because of a prep school year, so he's a little bit older than normal. Okay. And Zach Thornhill, who missed last year because of an injury, kind of has a little thing going right now, but we expect him back before the conference season. So he's a dynamic, athletic wing who can do a lot of things the way we like to play. So if we get those guys healthy and stay healthy within our team, then I think I'll like our bunch.
Awesome.
Well, Coach, what excites you, I guess, thinking about the Summit League, and North Dakota's in now as a new member. Right. Talk a little bit about renewing some of the, we're getting back to the I-29 rivalries now. You see the familiar faces here today. Does that, you've been in Omaha for a long, long time. How does that feel for you?
Well, I've gone up and down this interstate a lot. And when we left this league, when the NCC folded years ago, and we went down south, I go, well, I'll never go back up I-29 again.
Gosh.
And right again, here we are. But a lot of old familiar faces and a lot of people, and all the rivalries, and it's great. And I could tell stories all day long about some of the games I've had up there and the ones I've had lately. And but the way they run the conference tournament here is first class. Sioux Falls has been wonderful for it. It's been great for this league. It's great for the institutions, and we're really happy to be a part of it. But to see the people and to walk into buildings and know the equipment guy and they help us to our locker room, and you've known those people for 20 years. That's a special part of athletics.
Cool.
All right, Coach. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. We wish you the best of luck this season.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
All right, again, Derrin Hansen, head coach of the Omaha men's basketball team. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're talking South Dakota women's basketball. Me, Jay Elson, and Don Plitzwhite. Stay right here on Midco SN.